We're here. It is the ManFUzed Podcast. I am Kay Lee, audio producer, voice artist, host. My co-host, Ben H, making moves.
Coming at you live.
We are excited to be here.
For sure.
Excited about what is going on with ManFUzed right now.
Absolutely.
We have an announcement to make. The ManFUzed Podcast.
That's right.
Is expanding. We have billion-dollar ideas, and we are trying to execute them. Great announcements to come, but the one we will be announcing today, we have launched ManFUzed Productions. For us, this is a big deal. My daily job, which a lot of our listeners, portion of them, have come from the morning show that I am a part of, The Burt Show. The Burt Show, my role on that show is an audio producer. So I am responsible for producing, editing, separating all the segments that somebody would listen to on the Burt Show's podcast.
That's right.
That's me. I do all that. My role as an audio producer, I produce this podcast.
Many people who give me feedback on our podcast, whether they like our content or not, everyone always compliments on it sounds great. The quality is phenomenal. I don't even know if most people think in their mind editing, they're just going, wow, this sounds really good. Sounds very professional. And that's thanks to you.
Thank you.
Kay Lee, the audio producer, who thought up this amazing word called ManFUzed.
It is.
And brought it to me, his friend, Ben H. I got an idea for a podcast. You want to do that? And I said, sure. Here we are.
52 episodes in and going.
And counting.
I would say the ManFUzed podcast itself is doing excellent. We got some great ideas for some great things. At the same time, there are millions of podcasts out there.
4 million, right? To be exact.
Yeah, and if the stat I read the other day was that 2 million of them didn't have more than 2 episodes, which means someone started a podcast and then they quit.
I just want to say that I've met people all over the world from all walks of life, a lot of them whom I disagree with, some I agree with. I believe that people have value in their stories, and I believe that everyone's voice has something of value that could help someone else.
Absolutely.
There are so many people out there who feel a calling to have their voice be heard and feel that they have information, feel that they know or they possess a skill and they can share information on that, or they have some type of something that they learned that they'd like to share. And so they want to do that through the medium of audio.
Correct.
Podcasting is a revolution.
Correct. And so while there are a million places to do editing, we have decided that we are launching ManFUzed Productions, gearing towards, it's a concierge service for like-minded, business-savvy individuals who want their message, their voice, their company's message out there for people to hear. And it might not be...
It may not be business. It
Right.
could be about your hobby.
But it might be a niche audience. It might
That's
be
right.
an engineer that is talking to other engineers,
Absolutely.
which I personally would not be the listener of that podcast.
No, but I tell you what, if ManFUzed Productions got a hold of that audio, we could transform it from a raw audio file to be delivered to the world as a professional level, A+ grade, silky smooth, buttery podcast. Top of the line.
Now, I can't make someone who has a shit voice sound great. I can make them sound smart by editing skills, but I can't change.
Yeah.
I'm going to make their voice go from...
Like when I say bro, dude, and like a million times.
Well, we all do that. We have crutch words, and that is part of...
I think those are my crutch words, bro.
You say bro
Bro,
and dude.
dude.
A lot. As an editor and as an individual that likes to grow, we do a podcast, so we are going to have to challenge each other to drop those words. We're going to have to make it painful when those words are dropped.
Oh.
I haven't figured it out yet how. Maybe it's a monetary.
And behind the scenes, there's always all kinds of things that are happening.
Oh, totally.
Dogs are barking.
We might take a pause for a minute, and
somebody has to go to the bathroom. Kaylee's wife walks in. Maybe I have a phone call come in.
Right.
We have to stop, pause.
Right.
Someone calls in with horrible audio. We get disconnected. They have to hang up, call back.
Yeah.
All these things happen behind the scenes, but the audience never hears it because Kaylee and his team edit it out. Now, he has an expansive team and knowledge. I mean, it's already professional
Which
grade.
is why launching ManFUzed Productions is just a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
And while there are a million, it seems like, editing companies and consulting companies.
Absolutely there are. And that's good.
That's great. But we, not saying those companies cannot offer value. I'm sure they do. Absolutely.
We're living on the shoulders of giants.
This is a no-brainer for us because of our contacts, because of our place in this market already, where we can add value and we can do this thing big. There's no reason why we can't carve out whatever chunk we want.
Well, value is always the key. I mean, the most important thing in being successful in business, obviously, is the exchange of value. Everything else is somewhat irrelevant as it pertains to business, because if the exchange of value doesn't happen, chances are the business may not happen. And if it does, it's certainly not going to happen again.
It won't sustain.
It won't sustain. So using that metric, I think it's pretty clear that, number one, there are people with a message that needs to be heard, and they deserve to have that message heard in a professional manner. If they so choose, we can provide that service.
And if you're talking about a person who is very successful already, they don't have the time to edit. They don't want to learn how to edit. They don't want to learn what they need to get started.
I'm telling you.
They don't need studio. They don't need to learn what they need for a studio setup. They need ManFUzed Productions to come in, say, this is the space. This is how often you want to do it.
Right.
This is what it's going to take. You record, you get it to us, we get it back, we get it uploaded. It's a one-stop shop. That is the new ManFUzed Productions.
Boom.
So, that being said, if you know of anybody that thinks that they might need to start a podcast, please send them to us. You can reach us at 770-744-5227, voicemail, text, or hit us up, manfused.com.
I'm excited about it, man.
I'm pumped.
I want to tell the story, too, because it's really interesting how the universe works, right? I try to say gratitude like a million times a minute. I try to get my mind in a place to always be saying. It was interesting how we began this conversation. It began last week, and then we really started kind of amping it up when we started talking about the services that we can provide and the opportunities that exist.
I went to Office Depot yesterday because in the ManFUzed studio, I decided with all the other ideas we're working on, we got $1 billion idea, but we're not even going to let that go right now. I decided we need a whiteboard because we need to start putting this stuff down in front of us.
That's right. And taking pictures of it.
And writing on it, mapping everything out for domination.
As you're hanging the whiteboard, someone that we know, a good friend of both of ours who you grew up with, whom I met through you in 2005, and he and I have been buddies ever since.
Hey, we'll give him out. CJ Stam, the owner of Southern Comfort Cabin Rentals. This dude's a beast. His family's always been a beast. His family was always a mentor to me.
He's just a leader, dude.
He's a leader.
I mean, the guy is just a pure leader.
He's a purebred.
I mean, purebred, just out of the box. He may not see it that way, but boy, it
He
sure
knows-
looks
oh,
that way.
He knows
He's
it.
gotta know.
Don't-
I
he-
texted him happy birthday, legend.
Yeah. Is that what you said? Oh, that's funny. So, no.
But it's true.
But he's not cocky,
No, at all.
but he knows it. And
He's got to. But CJ, he called Kaylee out of the blue and just said, hey, I've got a couple buddies in my business space who are starting a podcast, and I was wondering if you might be able to help them out on the production side and at least give them some guidance and direction in the types of things they need to buy and the types of things they need to do to get their podcast edited, so on and so forth.
these are business owners that are not going to want to learn how to sit down and do audio editing.
You know how many people have been telling me I need to do a podcast? For years, people have been like, Ben, you need a podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And now I got one, but I'm just saying, if there was an opportunity for me to just sit down at my desk in my office and close the door and record for 20 minutes and then just send that audio file into a production company that was going to turn it around and have delivered to me a professional level podcast within like the 72-hour turnaround time,
or whatever the turnaround
48
time
hours,
is
whatever it
yeah,
might be.
whatever it's negotiated, but
back
yes.
in my inbox that I can then turn and promote through all of my marketing channels, I would have had a podcast a long time ago because I invest in myself and I invest in my business, and people who believe in themselves do that.
Correct. That's why ManFUzed Productions is born. So that being said, how the universe works, as I am drilling the whiteboard into the wall,
Right.
I had to put the drill down
To answer
the phone. And as I answer it, and he asked me these questions, I said, you wouldn't believe your timing right now. I said, because Ben and I we're launching ManFUzed Productions for this exact reason, and I am hanging a whiteboard. That's what I'm doing it for. What are the chances? If you build it, they will come.
Well, you know what it makes me think about? It makes me think that CJ is so honed in to the frequency of just balling. You know what I mean?
He knows
that
we're coming.
He gets pinged whenever one of his friends has a good idea, an idea comes. Give Kaylee a call.
He's got what you need.
Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Offers. If you guys haven't heard of Alex Hormozi, you should check him out. The guy is an absolute beast. And he wrote a book called $100 Million Offers. I think maybe we should post a link to it or something like that. Anyways, I'm in the process of reading this book. And what he's talking, gist of what he's saying is come up with an offer that's better than everybody else's.
Yeah, we talked about this on a previous podcast.
We have actually. Come up with an offer in that space. Provide value that is just such a great opportunity for someone that they'd be crazy to say no to it, given your competition.
You know what? I do love that.
And so that's the basis of ManFUzed Productions. We feel that we have value to provide that is over and above the competition based upon the result that we produce on this show every week.
And what I produce for the Burt Show.
Every week.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, and I love what you just quoted, but to close this out, I want to hear what your wife's stepdad says. What is his slogan, Ben?
He says, Ben, there's always room for somebody looking to do a good enough job.
Just remember those words right there.
Wise words from Brentavo himself.
So check it out. Thanks for listening to the ManFUzed Podcast. You can find us, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Support the show. You can check out our ManFUzed Gear. Check that out at manfused.com. We are now available to receive text, or you can leave us a voice message at 770-744-5227. We'll talk to you tomorrow.